Hey-ho, this is Rex. Time to take a look at how the rural real estate market is shaping up for the new year. It's been on fire. Let's welcome onto the show the GM of Rural at Property Brokers, Conrad Wilkshire. Morning, Conrad. Welcome into the new year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Hamish. Happy New Year, Loey.
You've been busy, mate. There's rumour has it you've been out with the fishing line because, you had such a good 2021. You're a hard worker, Conrad, but you afforded yourself a couple of days off.
I'll tell you what, if you can get a good day off Wanganui, it is well worth the effort. We were fishing up over there. It was incredible, actually. I got onto this hunting and fishing, put me onto these new sliders. Well, I don't think they're that new, but they're new to me. And I tell you what, it got to the stage I think I could have thrown a spud over the side and got a snapper. It was unbelievable.
Fantastic. Oh, there's another one for the quote file. Anyway, okay. Well, 2021, Conrad, finished with a bang. Let's be fair about that. The rural real estate industry is in a good heart. And we've been talking, what have we been talking about over a year, 18 months or so, and it's certainly changed in that time frame.
Yeah, it has. It has. And look, we were particularly pleased with our contribution last year. We hit that $1 billion mark, and look, it's a reflection of what's going on as a rule. But we are really starting to see a few themes out there now, and certainly our dairy sector is in great heart in terms of not only the payout forecast, but actually the values. We've seen a significant appreciation in the values of these dairy farms as well. So that's as you say, we look over those 50,000 hectares of real estate we were involved with last year, and there's some really positive signs.
Yeah, no, yep. Sorry, Loey, go ahead. Yep.
Conrad, I was looking online on Dirty Old Trade Me, dare I say it, for a block that I'd been told about, someone is observing it, down in the Otago region, and I couldn't get over the number of properties for sale, your rural properties for sale in Otago. Is it the same right across the country?
Yeah, it is. Mind you, particularly north of Otago, actually we're across, the boys in the south will get across with me as well, but right across Otago we have, it's our strongest region, actually. We've sold, and within our property brokers business, we've sold more properties out of Otago than we have anywhere above sort of 20 hectares. So it's strong, and we've seen some really positive shifts in valuations across the board, and North Otago particularly. We've seen some very large-scale dairy sales complete last year as well. So there's no question, and it is great value for money. I mean, particularly with good water, and the cost of water down there is very affordable on a relative basis. And, you've got very improved dairy farm systems down there with actually way more sunshine hours than people actually may suspect. So, they grow a lot of dry matter, and they do good production.
Okay, well, looking ahead, are we in a bit of a bubble that could burst, or will we see more growth in the market?
Look, our view is that we're going to see more growth, and that's not just based on some optimistic scenario. It's just the fundamentals are very strong. While we've seen if I look at our sales and look at the median price, our median price is $42,000 a hectare across our 70 dairy farm sales. If I just look at dairy as a bit of a spotlight, and even nationally the median's $39K, so we're not far away from that, but for us, our median price is up from $28,000 a hectare the year before. So so I think the dairy ground is, on a relative basis, very good value for money. You've got beef finishers paying dairy prices, and I just think people have stood back from the dairy market a bit with all these environmental, concerns is probably the wrong word, but uncertainty. But actually that uncertainty's been around for a while now, and year on year the industry continues to track extremely well. I mean, the current forecast is there'll be over $13 billion put back into the local economy by this June on the current forecast payout of $9. So, these are pretty strong signals, and not all of that has been commuted into the market yet. We definitely think that there's still more strength in the autumn market for our dairy listings.
Conrad, you speak about the environmental things for dairy farmers and all that, but as you move around and your representatives will be telling you, the dairy farmers in the last, I was going to say decade, but the last even 4 or 5 years, they've come that far in their obligations. It's terrific, isn't it, really? So what they are doing now, and I had this discussion over the break with someone that was putting, I think it was soy milk into their coffee, And I said, do you know how much soy's in that? And I said, it's carbon footprint. And it opened a can of worms. And I said, really, a milk from a cow that you put in your latte has got a smaller footprint than that soy or hazel or whatever you like to do. But dairy farmers are very good now, aren't they? A majority of them. Yes, there'll be one or two, but 99.9% of them are great.
Well, yeah, absolutely. If this, we can sort of, have big hearty speeches about it, but I get up in a fixed-wing plane, and we flew over Manawatu, and I did the same in Otago, and that was a huge 500. Anyway, we're flying over all these dairy farms, and you have a look at the investment in the compliance and the systems they've got now. None of that existed to the extent that it does today 5 or 10 years ago. There's been massive reinvestment in these businesses, and over what has been some quite challenging times. So, look, I think it is there. And then there's a whole heap more research coming to the table all the time, not least the fact we have, on a comparative basis internationally, extremely low carbon footprint. And so then the big question is around methane and where that all sits. But actually, if you rely on people like Keith Woodford, who I follow a lot, and, we're only putting in what we're actually taking back out of the system, like it's a system's neutral. But obviously we're committed globally to reducing methane, and that's what we're looking at, and some great tech options coming forward on that. But, you have a look at it, our dairy systems compare extremely well, but ultimately the product's a whole food. It serves a real need, and that need isn't going away. And on current prices, it doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon.
Have you ever seen a good analysis of how we stack up in terms of that compliance and taking care of Mother Nature? Have you ever seen a really good analysis of that done on the telly or across the media, Conrad? Because I'm not sure that messaging, even though we know it exists, really ever gets through.
Well, the best research I come across is through Dairy NZ and some of their reports they've commissioned, and they compare us internationally. But I think there's a lot more work to be done, and across the globe, everybody's in the industry is going down a similar path. So we're not there on ourselves, but we do. Our grass-fed ration, I think, has and continues to be our single biggest point of difference, because relying on photosynthesis to create protein is actually a very efficient model, and it also, we can grow grass really, really well. So I think ultimately that is our single biggest point of difference, and natural food produced in a sustainable way. I think these things are very real to our industry, and the same for our sheep and beef sector, I might add too. There's all these conversations around regen ag and what have you, but it's all about sustainable business models and farming the right land the right way. And
Conrad, it'd be
we've seen big gains. I
was going to say, Conrad, if you wanted to take one thing out of the dairy industry that could improve its footprint without doing anything on, some might say, bit of production, would be PKE, not using that. And I see the Greens thought it shouldn't be used because it cuts down forests. Well, those forests are actually being cut down for another reason. PKE, I would say that's carbon footprint to get it here. Also, the potential for disease to be brought into the country that way would be, if we got rid of that and farmed on what we can grow in New Zealand, would be a hell of a better, wouldn't it?
Yeah, look, I'm not... you need to talk to my farmlands colleagues to get a proper steer on that, because I'm not the nutritionist or the subject matter expert. But what I will say is that if you have a look at the volumes of PKE, I think all the forecasts is for that reliance on that to reduce significantly. But equally, we are looking at stocking rates now, and maybe not pushing the farm systems and taxing the farm systems quite the way we were. So there's all these conversations around we're at peak cows, but people like Nicola Shadbolt and Massey University and Lincoln, they've all done some great research on what economic farms are, and I think we're getting a much better steer on profit. Whereas a country, we've probably had a strong focus on production per hectare. For all my university and my first 20 years, it was all around a production-led story, whereas that increased production and profit don't always marry up. And so I think we are now starting to see, and I think when you look at inputs, I think there's a much better understanding of the profitability of inputs. And there's a lot of commentary at the moment, even at the $9 payout, that how profitable is the dairy system compared to, with all the increased costs and what have you. So I think farmers are sharp. They're going to be looking to try and make a dollar work. And if they don't have to spend $1 and they can drop the same bottom line, I think you're going to have a look at, farming systems, staff rosters, stocking rates are all part of the mix. And with a much stronger incentive on a sort of triple bottom line with profit, sustainability, and the right sort of system to retain staff.
Great stuff. That is Conrad Wilkshire, Property Brokers GM of Rural, who will catch up on a regular basis throughout 2022. Loey,